good Monday, live from Catamount Jaxe here in the heart of Catamount Country. Welcome you into our Catamount Coaches Show, presented by Stanberry Insurance, again live on location here right across from the Western Carolina campus at Catamount Jaxe. Invite you to stop by here next time you come to watch the Catamounts play. First opportunity to do so will be tomorrow night as the baseball team takes on UNC Asheville. Hope you'll make your way out here to catch the Catamounts. When you do, stop by Catamount Jaxe for all your pre-gaming. Get ready to go. Then come on over, get ready to go for the Catamounts and the Bulldogs. That'll be coming up tomorrow night. Baseball action right here in Cullowhee. Again, all of our shows presented by our good friends from Stanberry Insurance, 4 locations across western North Carolina: Cullowhee, Silva, Waynesville, Highlands, and now Clyde, of course, backing the Catamounts for over 40 years. Your independent insurance agency, Stanberry Insurance. Make sure you give them an opportunity to give you a quote on all your insurance needs. Busy show tonight as we come to you live from the heart of Catamount Country. We're going to talk track and field. We're going to run around a little bit, then we're going to go to the diamond for softball, then we'll go to the baseball diamond, and we'll finish up on the football gridiron tonight as we've got Jesse Norman to kick things off for us, or in the starting blocks, so to speak. I guess I'm more of a waterfall start guy than in the blocks guy, I think, when it comes to that. But you're getting ready for the Southern Conference Championship right here in Catamount Country, right here in Cullowhee. But before we talk about that, let's look back at what you guys had when you had the Catamount Classic. A great performance here across the board, a great opportunity to get it home. You don't get many home opportunities with track and field, but glad to have that event, again, presented by the Prospect and the Everson and everybody that worked out all the things we had with that event. But again, a great event for the Catamount Classic here. Talk about how that event went for you.
Yeah, it went really well. We had to kind of pull an audible and make it a one-day meet. It typically has been a 2-day event for us, and due to some of the weather that was predicted to come in on Saturday, we decided to pull the trigger and make it a one-day meet. A lot of the coaching colleagues that were there really enjoyed it. Saved them a little bit of money and stuff like that. And then having a one-day meet, not having anything on Saturday, Sunday was kind of a pleasant treat for coaching staff, and I'm sure the athletes also as well. But yeah, it was a great performance, great day for the competition. I think we had over 50 PRs. We had numerous top 5 finishes. We had some event wins. It was just a really good performance across the board.
And seeing some of those performances here that took place on that day. When you say it was a day of track and field, it was a day of track and field. I think it got started before 10 o'clock. I think the pole vault got going a little bit early there. But a pole vault all the way through with the jumps, the throws, the shot put. You saw the discus, javelin all the way through. Then you got things going on the track. But you also had ESPN coverage, which, again, kind of tooting our own horn, one of the few conferences teams that will actually try to do outside of a conference championship. What does that do for your program, the exposure that gives, not only for the student athletes that are here, but also the ones that are thinking about coming here?
Yeah, I think it's a great resource for us. The parents back home get to watch it because not every parent's going to be able to come down to Cullowhee and stuff. And so for them to be able to watch their son or daughter compete was pretty cool, pretty neat experience for them. I know I went back afterwards and it was like watching a meet because most of the time I'm running around trying to put out fires, try to do a little bit of coaching here and there. But I was able to kind of even go back and look at the replay on it and be like, oh, okay, hey, here's how this went, here's how that went. Be able to see some things with a little bit fresher eyes. And it was definitely pretty cool and pretty neat.
Yeah, and an opportunity for us to give us any feedback that you saw as a track and field aficionado that we could do better as we get ready for the conference track and field meet. Of course, a beautiful facility we've had open in 2004, 2005. We've hosted conference multiple times here. I love the fact that you got the back straightaway that you can see the entire race. Some people talk about they want to be right on top of the race for the back stretch, but I personally enjoy being able to see the whole thing. It's not like a road course in NASCAR where you see the guys run past you and then 30 minutes later you see them come back again. But again, the facility here, let's talk about the facility, how it plays out. Does it give us any advantage being at home with the conference championship on your home track and your home turf? Does it give you any advantage coming up next week?
Yeah, definitely. First and foremost, they get to sleep in their own beds and they get to have kind of the meals that they're used to and everything. And they get to kind of come and go as they please to a degree, or they're not stuck at the track for 10 hours. So I think all those things kind of play a role in it. And then, you start talking about, we know the layout of the track. As we've been getting ready for the Catamount Classic and getting ready for the SoCons, hey, remember this is the point where we need to be driving home. This is the part where we need to be kind of controlled a little bit more. So we can kind of use some of these benchmarks that, we have around our track that we know and we work on all the time.
And you also got to think it's also maybe a little bit of wanting to go out and perform better that you are at home, wanting to go out and do things here at our home track and defend the home turf, so to speak. And one of the last championships we won, I think, was here at this facility when we talk about Southern Conference.
Yeah, 2018 was the last one that we had won on the women's side here. We won in 2019 on the men's side, indoors and outdoors that year. But those were away. So I was using that last week when we had some of the big workouts, kind of looking up and having the ladies and the guys look up and be like, hey, that was the last year that we won.
Yeah.
It was here at home. Like, let's see what we can do to bring home another championship.
When we talk about this, the way it breaks down for Southern Conference Championship, again, all the different events all add up in points, and we kind of explain to people at home that may not understand how the scoring works. When you get the final finishes, a lot of times you'll have heat races and things of that sort that'll play out to get you to your finals. But talk about the scoring, how that all plays out when you start talking about a bunch of individual events that all play out to a team champion.
Yeah, it's definitely it's pretty interesting. It's a numbers game to a degree. So for outdoors we're allowed 28 per gender. So that's your total roster size that you can bring, and then within that you can put up to 6 per event. And so the scoring goes: first place is going to be 10 points, second is going to be 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you score all the way down to 8th place. Day one will be prelims for a lot of events, and then we'll roll into finals the second day. And so you have some events that will be finals on day one, like the 10K, the steeplechase, some of your throwing events, your long jump, different things like that. But you'll have a lot of prelims on running events, and then you'll come back and do finals on day two. So you the way we cue it up with our kids is, if you're in a prelim or anything like that, like, you got to think about having that PR or that personal best type of performance on day one, because you can't be holding anything back. Be like, oh, I'm going to save it for the finals, because if you do that in our conference, you're very likely not to make the finals, and then you're sitting in the stands cheering, or you're going to be shagging some implements for us the next day.
Volunteering.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Volunteer hours. So you look at it, of course, we showed it just a moment ago. Let's look at some of our individuals. Let's start on the women's side. The women come in, you talk about what they finished at the end of the indoor season. Close but no cigar, right there on the cusp of knocking off Sanford, who's been the big dog, so to speak, here the last couple of years. But you look at Erica Jackson and Lexi Durbin. Of course, Lexi Durbin, freshman of the year, the 24-25 indoor season, what she was able to do in the throwing events. The throwing events seem to be kind of the strength on both sides. I think your sprints on the women's side also could be where you make some points, make up some ground. But you talk about these individuals you've seen come through here. Let's talk about some of them. And, again, talk about Lexi. Talk about what Erica Jackson's been able to do for you in the throw game.
Yeah, I mean, our throws group, smaller group, we're definitely trying to manage that roster size. But, man, Dan's been doing a great job with that group and developing it out. They're definitely a pretty big bedrock of what we're going to be doing down the road. And then you got like your athletes like Jasmine Green and Raylan that are in the jumps events. Like those ladies are going to be able to hold down the fort and do some really good things there. Sadler Miller, that's golf and track. Like she does a really good job. Was conference champion last year in the high jump. So we've got kind of a lot of those field events kind of covered. They come in, they execute on the day, like they should be really good, bedrock for us across the board. And then, it's really coming down. Last year really put a lot of emphasis on trying to bring in some, female sprinters that can help change the program. And man, we hit out of the ballpark with the ladies we brought in. We got Shania Shirley, we got Jada Irwin, Emma Goins. Like those three ladies right there have elevated our whole sprints program, and we've seen them kind of affect change in our returners because they came in and they're really, really good. Shania just ran 24:10, I think it was, and 11:8. Both of those are PRs for her. And we've got the lady, Samoria Thomas, that was second in the 200 last year. So them two just training together is kind of elevating Samoria, which Samoria is a game time. She will show up and be ready to go. And so she's ready to go, and Shania is ready to go, and Emma and Jada, and then Leah and Kendall and all this, like Anaya Patterson, like all of a sudden, like our sprints group is kind of getting back to what it was during the heyday. Gives us a chance.
Yeah, the days of Raquel Ramsor would be in the sprints out there leading the way. And, it used to be that we were really heavy on sprints and everything else kind of came along. Now you're starting to fill in the gaps, and it gives you that opportunity because you've got to have the points in the throws and in the jumps to be able to have the sprints to be that, again, second day. You can't win the championship on the first day with some of those events that go final, but you definitely can lose it if you lose a lot of points that first game.
Yeah, if we're not close in a day one, like it kind of makes it hard for me as a coach to come in and convince the ladies, like, hey, you can do this, or even the guys, like, hey, you can do this. Like, I think if they can see the point gap is pretty small, maybe Stanford's 10 points ahead of us, and then we've got all these kids that are in the finals, like, it kind of gets them all excited. It's like, all right, hey, we actually have a chance. And really what we need to do is we need to come out and swing it on day one. Running events, we got the 4x1 that'll be leading off, and right now we're leading the conference by like about a second, I think it is. And so if we can kind of come in and get a win there, like, hey, that's a good start, and then it just gets infectious from there on out.
Yeah, seeing some of the names on the men's side here as you look at some of the top performers from the outdoor seasonal performance charts, and you talk about we've traditionally, going back to the days of Johnny Bomar and everything else, we were really heavy. Of course, Johnny Bomar, bring him up because he's the coach down in Wofford and really does a great job. Their women's program can steal some points here and there and be a contender, as it were. It used to be that we were sprint heavy. And you look to the Furmans and the Chattanoogas, you're like, you don't want them to take away some of those distance points from other teams to maybe help. And then we hope our throws can come along. Cale McDaniel did a great job of starting the trend of getting the throws back on the men's side. It feels like we're really heavy on the men's side, not so much in person, but in number of guys that can go out and score your points.
Yeah, definitely. That men's squad is pretty big. In this new age of roster limits, like, that's just one of the things we got to kind of keep an eye on. But it's kind of the same thing as the women's side. Like, Dan's done a great job of coaching that group, developing that group out. It's going to be a bedrock. You have somebody like Austin Klein and Jake Thomas and Colton Weaver, like those three guys by themselves. Nick Dale, like Jackson Lewison, like, man, it's just a group that's got a lot of firepower that could really swing and do some really good things for us.
Yeah, you talk about Hawkins, I think, as well. One of the guys that could be one of those that could be scoring multiple points through I think javelin. I think he does javelin.
Javelin it is.
And some of those different things. So how many total events are there on either side when you look at the men's and women's competition total? When you start talking triple and long jump, and you got the high jump, you got pole vaulting for men and women, and you got obviously the decathlon and heptathlon. You've never lived until you've been out there to start your day with a deck and a hep, because those things, the multis, they go multiple days and they go for multiple hours through the course. I think that's a very appropriately named event. Then you get into the running events, the short sprints, which I think anything under 200. 400 probably start the longer. Middle distance is 400, 800. Then you get into the distance events, which is cross country on a track. So where do you look to be the strongest on both your sides coming in? Where do you look to try to take advantage of the conference here at our home meet?
I think it's kind of everywhere. Like, when I brought Dan and Jill on board, it was kind of the idea was to build the program to be well-rounded. Like, we want to be able to score in every single event group. Last year, when the guys team was second, we were within 10 points of it. We scored in every single event. That's something that's pretty exciting and a really good feather in our cap. But that's kind of been what we've been trying to build, is like, let's be able to score in every single event. Like, all right, you might be a little bit stronger in this area. Stanford may be strong in the throws this year. It's all right, we'll take you out with our jumpers. And our throwers will kind of neutralize you. And, it might be the same way on the sprint side. And so that's kind of what we've been trying to build. When you got 20-plus events and then trying to manage the roster with the coach staff of 3, we've got to be very selective, and probably I've got to be a little bit better at saying no to some kids coming in and stuff like that, and being a little bit more laser focused on bringing in.
Well, somebody asked me if I wanted to volunteer to catch the discus or the javelin, and I told them no. That's probably a smart thing, right? Not volunteer to catch it. Go retrieve it. But
retrieve it.
You look at it finally here, Coach, as you wrap up. We look ahead to the conference championship next Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
A little different time of form of that after finals week instead of trying to squeeze it in on a weekend. Your women's team came home second in indoor. Surprised by that? Was that coming along? Is that what you expected, or was that maybe peaking a little sooner than you thought they might?
Yeah, that was. I think we saw a chance that they could be able to do that, but we were going to need to execute some things, and we did down the road. The last few events went pretty well for us, and so I think that kind of definitely helped us out. Samoria kind of showed out pretty good in the 60 and the 200, and that really helped us kind of get that ball rolling.
On the men's side, you ended up third. Kind of a disappointment or a surprise that you weren't in contention closer with Stanford?
Definitely a disappointment. The tradition here is win or go home, right? And so even when we get second, like we're not satisfied with that. It's not what we're about. It's we've got that storied history that we're trying to live up to. And so it was definitely disappointing. I had a come to Jesus meeting with some of our guys afterwards, kind of just, hey, here's what we need to do a little bit better, and kudos to that group. Like, they definitely have kind of been, getting better and doing some good things for this outdoor season.
Well, you look at the performance charts coming in, and Josh Hartlett's did a great job of putting together some of these numbers, and you look at Sanford, 181, Western Carolina, 176.5 on the women's side. That's just taking the average points scored during the course of the year. And you said even coming into this week, for the most part, we've been 1 or 2, mostly 1 throughout the year. So what's it going to take for that women's squad to get over the hump against Sanford, who has kind of dominated the last couple of years here in the conference?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really centered around those field events. You never know if somebody's going to foul out or scratch out or something like that. So if we can have those field events be really, really strong for us, the sprints can just kind of keep doing what they've been doing. Really, I feel like the group that can swing it for us is our distance group. Right now, we're not projected to score any points. So anything we get from anybody from the 800 all the way up to the 10K can be just bonus points to take up for when that kid fouls out, or it could be the difference from us winning from 1 or 2 points and it coming down to the 4x4, or us winning by 10. I've been telling our ladies and our guys for the last couple of years, I'm like, the next championship that we win, we're not going to blow out. Like, Sanford's good. Like, it's going to be we're going to win by single digit numbers. And so what kind of fight are we going to have down the stretch?
What's it going to take for the men to make that jump back into that top 2 to contend with Sanford coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I think we're lining up pretty good to be second place this year. We're going to need a lot of things to go really well for us. We're going to need some kids to kind of step out, and maybe Sanford have some bad luck here or there to really make a run at winning it. Sanford's just really good. They're really balanced this year, so it's definitely going to be tough. I think there's definitely an avenue for us to be able to do that, but we're going to need to hit the iron while it's hot and be pretty good.
And again, coming up Monday and Tuesday, Catamount Athletic Complex right here in Catamount Country. It's a great opportunity to come out. We'll be charged with the Southern Conference coming into that championship event. But if you've never been out to a track and field meet, just go and sit and watch. And that's what I tell people. Just come out. First of all, it's a beautiful facility right here in the heart of the mountains. The mountains are all greened up around us now. Everything looks beautiful, and it's just a full day. And it's just an awesome activity. You know what? I think looking back, one of the most exciting things that I've seen recently in the last couple of years was kind of the 3,000 meter. You're thinking, wow, that's a long race. Yeah, and all of a sudden, well, steeplechase, first of all, because they jump into the water and they have to jump over stuff. It's like hurdles without having hurdles, when you're running a distance. But just the long races that came down to nip and tuck right at the end. So, again, I think we've got an opportunity. And, again, if you get a chance to come out, please do at the Catamount Athletic Complex next Monday and Tuesday, Coach. Wish you the best of luck as we continue here on our Coaches Show. But looking forward to hosting the event right here in Colby.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Come on out. We can use all the support we can get, and hopefully at the end of Tuesday we'll have some really good results for everybody to be really excited about.
All right, that's Jesse Norman. He knows the thing too about winning conference championships as a student athlete here at Western Carolina, doing the same thing, keeping us competitive as a head coach here. We'll continue after this. We'll turn our attention to the first of 2 diamonds. We'll talk about Catamount softball. They head to their conference championship this week as well, over to Choo Choo City, over to Chattanooga, Tennessee, the Scenic City. We'll talk about that in just a moment as we continue live from Catamount Jaxe here on our Catamount Coaches Show.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
in Cullowhee. Make sure you come by to see our good friends right here at Catamount Jaxe. They got axe throwing in the back. They got alcohol, the social house here in the front. Alcohol and axes, what could go wrong, right? We love it. It's a great time had by all. Next time you come to Cullowhee, make sure you stop by to see the good friends here at Catamount Jaxe. Again, they've been a great host all season long for our Catamount Coaches Show, for Catamount Football Weekly. Make sure you stop by. Tell them hello. Tell them thank you for helping out with Western Carolina Athletics. Again, great job here at Catamount Jaxe. Outstanding staff, always helpful. Make sure you come by and see them. Tip your waitress, tip your waiter, tip the bartender. Make sure you take care of those folks. Again, they do a great job here at Catamount Jaxe. And as always, our Coaches Show is brought to you in part by Stanberry Insurance with 4 locations across Western North Carolina. Again, Silva, Waynesville, Highlands, and of course now in Clyde. Online at stanberry-ins.com. I know I use Stanberry Insurance, so I invite you to call them. Let them give you a quote. You're looking for insurance? We've got a bunch of great insurance agents around Western North Carolina. Stanberry Insurance, they've been back in the Catamounts for over 40-plus years. Make sure you give them a call. Again, online, stanberry-ins.com. Well, Coach, we look ahead. We talk about Conference Championship. We'll skip this past weekend unless we're going to learn something from it. A tough weekend there at Wofford. But let's talk about Conference Championship leading in. Where's your squad at right now? Looking ahead, perhaps going to Wofford. What was the deal in Spartanburg as we get ready for a trip to Chattanooga?
Yeah, I think we're pretty excited where we are. I mean, the last weekend was not what we wanted to do as far as results, but I think It was a good tune-up. We played hard, good competition. I think Wofford is a much better squad than what you would think they were with their standing. They got back up to 4th seed, which is a good seed. But we needed to play better this weekend than we did. But we're ready to go. We're into the 3rd season.
Well, sometimes you can get those learning opportunities from taking losses. Sometimes you win more or learn more from a loss than you do from a win. As you look forward to that, you end up as a number 3 seed. Knew it was going to be a tough task to try to go and get the number 1, number 2 with UNCG. Knew it was going to be tough to kind of climb up into that top 2, needing UNCG to go and sweep Sanford, and then you had to go and take care of business against Wofford. But you look now as the number 3 seed. You're looking at a 7 o'clock game on Wednesday, as we said, weather permitting, against ETSU or Mercer. Now, you swept ETSU, took 2 or 3 lost 2 or 3 to Mercer.
Right.
Mercer just lost 2 or 3 to ETSU. So, again, it's kind of all over the place here as far as the way this schedule played out all year. Kind of expected, though. This has kind of been a topsy-turvy year. Aside from UNCG, really looks like a crapshoot from there on down.
Well, I'd say even with UNCG, which has fantastic pitching as usual, good hitting. I mean, they are always the team in the last, especially since COVID. The championship runs through them.
Yeah.
And even Chat took it last year. They still had to. That's who they had to beat to get there. So you always have to play well. But I would say this year that every team is beatable, and anybody could go on a run. I think you look at Mercer. They have a new head coach. They, as a program, did very well. Went to the NCAA's. Won the tournament. Went to the NCAA's. Went deep in that. Lost the championship game to Florida. Well, this is a different squad. That coach left, and a lot of the players left, and they have some really good seniors and some good players now. They can hit really well, and I think that they could do a lot of damage, even though they're a different team. And you look at ETSU, and they've got one of the better pitchers in the conference, and they can hit. And so, we know that we can hit, and we've proven it, on the field and statistically shows that we can hit. And I think, it should be interesting whichever one we face, and I really don't care who.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the mentality you have to have at this point of the year. There's going to be somebody in the other dugout. You've already faced them at least 3 times during the year. Now you get to do it one more time, and again in a double elimination format that you're in that part of the tournament as the number 3 seed. Again, we'll see who wins between ETSU and Mercer, who will face. They're supposed to play theoretically a doubleheader on Wednesday. Of course, weather being what it is, if the schedule holds like it is, they'll play earlier in the day and have to come back and play you in the evening. Kind of like that setup, give you an opportunity here in this SoCon Softball Championship to get their potential number 2 pitcher the way it works out. But again, weather could play a factor, and I know you and I have kind of talked briefly, you and Greg talked about that a little bit as well. That could really throw a proverbial monkey wrench into the whole tournament if things change with weather.
Without a doubt. I mean, the way the tournament is set up without worrying about weather, that's why it's so important to get one of the top 4 seeds.
Yeah.
Obviously, being 1 and 2 lets you kick back even another day, and so I think it's that's important. So it'll be a disappointment, I imagine, if they play and everything else gets washed out until the next day. But I really don't care. I'd play them the first game.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter to me. I think we're ready to go. I think our players are more than excited. I think we've got a lot of youth. We're being led by a very young bullpen, and we're where we would love to be, and very excited to be the number 3 seed.
Well, seeing some of the highlights we're seeing here, one of the things that are going to be prevalent, the long ball, home runs. I've drawn a lot of comparisons to 2006, one of the first years of Catamount softball, in terms of what this team has done and the records this team this year has broken. 20 years later, what you're able to do, what this team has done, 72 home runs, 4 players with double-digit dingers already on the year. Really predicated your offense off of that, but that's not where it stops. That's a big part of it, but that's not all you've got.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That first team set a bar that every team since here at Western's been chasing. They played back then. They played a few more games than we do now. Not a bunch, but a few more. And just had a dream season. And we kind of feel like we had a pretty darn good one this as well. It's kind of nice to I've been here a minute. And it's great to look at breaking records that they set, but also breaking records that teams I've coached have set as well. And seeing, it's just an indication of how our talent is building year to year. And I'm real proud of this squad.
Well, you talked about your pitching staff, a young pitching staff, kind of the sophomore, and Amanda Fulton's kind of been your ace. Brittany Bunsick has really come along and stepped up into that number 2 role. A.G. Batson, another one that can step in. Really just the 3 right off the top that can go out. You're talking about 3 underclassmen who've been baptism by fire over the last 2 years and this year alone. Where do you see, do you ride those 3 as far as they take you in terms of what you're going to be able to do?
Well, I think from a just kind of all things being equal, yeah, probably that's what you look at. I think every team is probably going that way, and we are fortunate compared to baseball. You could maybe have a baseball starter push up a day and do 4 days rest instead of 5, but we're able to do a little bit more with the pitching motion they have. It comes down to their athleticism and their physicality, what kind of condition they are and whether they can do that. But at the same time, you just can't pitch them forever either. We have to be very careful of that. Amanda went 12 innings strong the other day, and just talked to her this morning. She said, yeah, that was another game. And I think that's a testimony of how she's developed. Last year as a freshman, she had a really solid freshman year, but I think she got a little bit fatigued there towards the end and going into tournament, and she then had kind of one of those, okay, that's what it really looks like. You can tell the freshmen when you're recruiting them what it's going to be like and what they need to do to prepare, and they may give an effort at doing that, but when they get here, they realize what it really takes. And when she took off for the summer, she worked hard. She came back, and she's stronger than she was last year and more resilient than she was last year. And just watching her, the only thing more exciting than what her performance is this year is what's going to happen in the future.
Oh, for sure. Well, you talk about that pitching staff, Coach, and you look at the 2 matchups you could potentially have. I think pitching was probably key in that ETSU series, really held their hitters down around the 200 batting average collectively on the weekend. That really set the tone there. Then you look at the Mercer series, and that just turned into a slobber knocker. That turned into everything that's thrown in there gets hit. Then you talk about Brittany Bunsick, who goes out and dominates game 2 of that series. Yeah. Then it comes down and didn't even get out of the first inning in the second game because Mercer figured things out. So again, it's just the topsy-turvy nature that can be the sport.
It's a beautifully cruel game. There's no doubt about that. And Bree has been such a bright spot for us. We started the season off, and she looked every bit the freshman, and really struggled getting through games early on, and built some statistics that I think if you look at it now, if you did not know what she has done since conference, you look at her ERA from conference only versus her overall ERA, and you can see that she she really came around, and she started. We started a conference, and she was just blockbuster. I mean, not getting a freshman like that, especially at the preseason, was a little rough. You just felt if she could take a couple innings for us and keep us in the game just for a couple innings until we could bring back Amanda and try to take some throws off her, or bring in AG or something like that. She goes in there and pitches complete game wins. And so couldn't be more excited. Talking about a competitor, she wants the ball in her hand all of the time. We're really lucky to have her.
I'm pretty sure she's the one with the different motion that's a little bit different. It makes me hurt every time I watch her throw. The way she throws the arm straight up in front, it's a little bit different than what Fulton does. But let's talk one more time about this home run hitting this murderer's row that you've had. Yep. When you talk about Maya McPherson, you talk about Sydney Dirks, you talk about Tate Stuman, who's having an outstanding, unbelievable final year, and Becca Wansick, who has stepped up, playing some outfield for you as well. It's tough to go through that lineup when you start with Lily Bell, a perennial 400-plus hitter who's basically on base, stretches singles into doubles all the time. You talk about her, and then you got everyone right behind her that's been hitting well. Not a whole lot of holes in the top half of that, really top two-thirds of your lineup.
Yeah, and if you look at, I'll start at the top with Lily Bell. She's not just a table setter, but a kind of an energy mood setter. And if you take a look at how she started, she had a really good starting off doubleheader, and then she really struggled. For her, she really struggled. And I think at one point she was hitting about 250. She's raised her batting average about 140 points, yeah. And she's what she's done in the last month is probably hitting better than she did last year when she set a new batting average record for the conference. It's just amazing to watch what she does. It was great to see her process and learning, through struggles, which she doesn't probably have a lot of experience at. So
for sure.
She struggled a little bit and figured something out and became a better player because of it. And I'm so excited and happy for her, but I'm more happy and excited for the team because of what she's doing.
And those home run hitters have just been phenomenal. They just keep finding ways.
Yeah, we get, obviously Taylor Waitley ended up being a number 2 hitter. She's having a career year as well, hitting well over 300 and getting us over to the number 3, 4, and 5 with Sydney Dirks and Maya McPherson and Tate Stuman, and then followed up by Becca Wansick, and we'll talk about her in a second. But I don't know what they eat for breakfast, but we'll
double it for tournament time.
Right, we're ready, yeah. And but they have just been scary good. And I think what's really happened, and that's where I give a lot of credit to Maya. Maya really got rolling and has had, I think a Player of the Year candidate season. Is I think everybody fed off of that. And everybody got to see more pitches as they did better. And then all of a sudden Maya's seeing better pitches, and then Tate's seeing better pitches, and Becca got a little bit of a slow start. If you look at how her batting average and the number of home runs she's got 11 home runs, and she's probably got 50 less at bats than those top 3. So her home run per game is actually higher than a couple of the other ones. So they're just hammering it. And, we have a smaller field, and some would probably think that's it. But if you've been around here watching where they hit those balls, they're hitting probably 230 to 250 at any one time when they hammer one. And it's fun to watch. I'm really excited for Tate Stuman. She's local here. She is not. This is definitely a career year for her, and I don't know if it's this is it syndrome, and given everything she has, but she's such a team player, and certainly our leader, one of our 3 captains, but our leader of our team. And it's really gratifying to see her have such an amazing year. I mean, she didn't just have 4 or 5 home runs, which would have been really great. I've been happy for her. She's got 15 home runs, and we still got a tournament to play.
Yeah, I'm talking about Frost Field, a little bit bigger of a field. I know it's 220, I think, the straightaway center. It's a little bit deeper of a ballpark. The plays over there, great facility, all-turf facility. We talked about weather, but again, turf could help get those games in. But again, it all gets underway coming up on Wednesday evening. 7 p.m. is what you're anticipated to play right now. Again, check CatamountSports.com. We'll have a complete preview of all the coming attractions, and of course keep track of everything, Coach, and wish you the best of luck. Again, we're looking forward to being over there. I know we're going to try to get a send-off for the team, get them on the right way, heading out tomorrow, heading over to Chattanooga, get things ready to go. And again, the sky's the limit. 3rd season starts now, and now it's again, you drive for show, but you putt for dough, and now we're in the putting season, as it were, here in softball.
Well, and I also hear there's going to be a superstar radio broadcast going on there, and so I'm pretty excited about that.
Going to be over. Going to have the whole thing going as whatever we can do. Looking forward to being over and watching and seeing where this team can go. And like I said, let's hope the weather just stays away. Got to get the vortex going around Chattanooga so that it just stays away. Let us get all this softball in as we have it scheduled and laid out. But again, Coach, wish you the best of luck. A tremendous year, but wish you the best of luck here as you head over to Chattanooga.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and go Cats.
All right, we'll talk more about the Diamond. We'll switch over to the baseball Diamond as we get the softball team sent off to Chattanooga. We'll talk Catamount baseball. They're at home tomorrow night against UNC Asheville. The Bulldogs come to town, the old mountain rivalry. That game will be regionally televised on the CW62, WYCW out of the upstate. We'll talk with Alan Beck on the other side of this timeout. You're watching the Catamount Coaches Show, presented by Stanberry Insurance, live on location here at Catamount Jaxe in the heart of Catamount Country. Now we're back here at Catamount Jaxe, live in the heart of Catamount Country, as we have our Catamount Coaches Show, presented by Stanberry Insurance. Again, 4 locations across western North Carolina, in Sylva, Waynesville, Highlands, and of course the newest location over in Clyde, online at stanberry-ins.com. Give them an opportunity to let you get a quote for all your insurance needs: home, life, auto, business, pet health. You got
everything.
Pets. Yeah, anything they want, they can do it for you. Stanberry Insurance been backing Catamounts for over 40 years. And, of course, we're here at Catamount Jaxe. Axe throwing in the backs. I know the Beck boys love to get over here and throw axes. You got to keep them in line and not out there throwing. Are they in the building? Yeah, over here. Yep. So, again, here at the Social House, looking forward to it. Again, make sure you stop by here and see the fine folks at Catamount Jaxe. Axe throwing in the back, Social House in the front. A great time had by all. They'll have trivia nights. They've got food trucks that'll be out here every now and then. So, again, come see the fine folks here at Catamount Jaxe. Again, proud presenter of our coaches shows and, of course, Catamount Football Weekly, which we'll talk with Kerwin Bell to wrap up this show. Kerwin Bell just walked in the building now. How about that? Right on cue, just like I planned it. But here with Alan Beck talking Catamount baseball, and baseball coming off a solid weekend, I guess you could say, going down to Wofford, a team that doesn't lose at home. And, well, we gave them 2 losses on the weekend in a really, really competitive series. First and foremost, congratulations on that. And right now, Catamount sitting atop the SoCon standings. Like the look from the top looking down here.
Yeah, just proud of the guys for getting off to the start that they did. And it was a great weekend. I mean, it's a tough place to play, and to win a series down there and to do it after losing Friday night, I think it was an unbelievable weekend.
Well, after you lose Friday night, I think more is the way we lost on Friday night. I mean, we just really took an offensive team that was sitting well over 300 in conference play, 320, 330, almost 340 in conference play, and only had 2 base hits and only 3 base runners to a 9-inning game. It was frustrating, but it also shows you, and like I said multiple times throughout the weekend, after we did double-digit hits on Sunday, it gives you more appreciation for what Alec Bouchard, pitcher of the week in the Southern Conference for Wofford, tip your cap. It makes you appreciate what he did even more watching what we were able to do later on in that weekend.
Oh, yeah. No, he was unbelievable. It's probably as dominant a start as we've had against us. We've had a couple, though, unfortunately. But it was good to find a way. We didn't necessarily swing it great off Cullen Condon either on Saturday, but some really good at bats in there. I mean, I think Jackson Lyda hit by pitch to get our first run. I think Jackson Lyda another hit by pitch to get on first base and scored from first on Walker Fox's double, and then he got the big hit at the end too. I think he wanted it more than anybody on the field on Saturday. So
I think we just saw the hit right on cue as well.
Yeah, it was
he
awesome.
Got that hit,
crushed
there.
it.
Yeah, and a 3-2 win. Now we look at the game on Sunday, Coach, and again, Cole Jones got you going, a big home run after a foul ball that went probably farther than the home run. With that one, you see frustrating there. But then how about Jackson Godfrey getting it done right here, and what a big swing this was. He knew it was gone as soon as it left the bat. He traveled almost 400 feet. It's only about 335, 340 to that part of the fence where he hit it, but he hit it almost 400 feet.
They crushed it. He's got raw power, and
Alan Beck type power.
There you go. It was a great swing. I mean, Cole getting us on the board. I think he was down in that count. I think he worked it back to 3-2. There was a foul ball in there. A homer, I think there was a foul ball back, and then he got it, which was a huge at bat just to give us some breathing room and score first. I mean, that's really important, just the ability to score, and then Godfrey following it up the next pitch.
I think for confidence too in that series, because runs had been at such a premium
on both sides.
On both sides. I mean, they ended up getting 6 at the end of things on Friday night and a 6-1 win, but then a 3-2 game on Saturday. I fully expected it to be 27-26 on Sunday, just because of the way things play out. It seems like whenever you have close ball games, the last one's going to be a blowout, or vice versa. You can see a run rule game in the first game, which is what happened last time we went down to Spartanburg. A run rule game in the first game, and then we ended up winning the next 2. But it's huge in the fact now, Coach, as you look at the overall picture in the Southern Conference, you've now got the tiebreaker over 4 teams that are tied right now behind you at 9-6. ETSU, Wofford, Mercer, and Sanford all tied at 9-6, right behind you in the standings overall. We've got an off weekend per se. Just means we're not playing Southern Conference play. All we're doing is playing the number 21 team in the country in terms of RPI in Wake Forest down at their ballpark. But it gives you an opportunity to sit back and watch the rest of the league. And a lot of those teams are playing each other. So, again, looking to try to get, right now the goal would be 15 wins in conference, which would mean 3 wins over UNCG. And you start counting backwards from there. I hope Kim Cherry Beck has got her ears plugged right now, not listening. She hates talk about seeding scenarios and what it's going to take. But, again, you got to like where you're sitting right now at 12-6 and the golden opportunity to kind of sit back and watch, even though you got a chance now to go with Wake Forest on the weekend. We'll talk about that in a moment, but you got to like where you are in the SoCon standings.
Yeah, no, our guys have done a really good job as far as taking care of business and just winning series no matter how it starts. We've got every series except Citadel and played good enough to win the series down there too, both Friday and Saturday, but just didn't. And so now I'm very pleased. And it's different guys. It's different guys stepping up throughout the course of conference play. It's not just the same people. So it's been a team effort. And put ourselves in position. And, UNCG, they're good. They're 141 RPI. They beat a lot of good teams. They're well coached. So I'm glad we don't have to worry about that this weekend, but it's definitely not an off weekend. We got to play well tomorrow against UNC Asheville, then head down to Winston-Salem.
Yeah, how key is that going to be? We're talking about Asheville coming in here. They got us. They snapped our 6-game win streak in the series at their place earlier this year. An 8-4 win offense. They never really got going against the Bulldogs, and those midweeks are always kind of question mark, always tough when you go out and play, but didn't get it done in the first meeting against UNC Asheville over there. A chance to get them back at our place. Last week we didn't play in the midweek, and I started to wonder when you look at that Friday and even the Saturday performance, did that layover, did it hurt us, in fact, not being out there and playing? Last time you and I talked Sunday after the win over ETSU was like, we can't wait to get back out on the field and get going again. Well, we had to wait a week. I think that might have maybe taken some of that momentum away.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. And you do live at bats, you do everything that you can to keep everybody in the flow of things, but it's tough. And well, we were ready, and we had a good practice Wednesday. We had live ABs Tuesday, good practice Wednesday, and we went down to Spartanburg, Thursday. But I definitely think being in the swing of things, seeing pitches, keeping guys comfortable, that's a big part of it. So hopefully, the good news is we're playing midweek next 2 weeks. So if we don't hit on the weekend, it won't be because we didn't play midweek.
Well, you look at this. Where do we get your thoughts on it? You talk about the Southern Conference. we have become a one-bid league over the last handful of years. And there were years where we're talking about 2, maybe 3 teams every year being in that conversation. It is what it is in terms of how things have shaken out. But right now you've got 5 teams inside the top 100. You've got 6 teams inside the top 110. Everybody's inside the top 185 in the Southern Conference. It's one of the best conferences top to bottom, I think, when you start breaking it out. Then you look at some of the teams that you've beaten. You got number 43 Mercer. You swept them. You've got number 97 Appalachian State. You run-ruled the Mountaineers, who I don't think they may not have lost since they lost in run-rule fashion here. Yeah, they're top 100 RPI. You took 2 from Sanford, who's number 98. You took 2 from number 78 ETSU. You got number 21 Wake Forest on the schedule. You got 2 teams right now, Mercer at 43, who we swept, and us at 48. At what point do you start potentially looking at this being a 2-bid league from the SoCon this year?
Yeah, and I think us and Mercer both have a chance. It depends on how we finish and how we played, down the home stretch. But, it's only going to help our RPI this weekend going down there and playing. We're going to go down there to compete to win and fully expect that, to try to get one from them. And they're a great team, but it's only going to have us more ready moving forward into UNCG, into the tournament. So they got really good arms, really good bats. I mean, they're just overall going to be a tough opponent. But, yeah, the strength of our schedule has been a good thing this year, I think. I think we're a top 80 strength of schedule. And, it's not always great in the moment when you lose some of those or you're facing good arms or good lineups, but I think it helps you for conference play. And, I think our schedule this year is unfolded great.
Yeah, I'm not sure Rob put those App State highlights in there. I think that might have been Roman putting them in. Rob can put in the UNC Asheville highlights next time we do this as they get the home run there. That's another Jackson Godfrey home run that gave us the run rule victory there as his first collegiate home run for Jackson Godfrey. It's turned into the Jackson Godfrey hour here at Catamount Jaxe. Why not for Jackson Godfrey? Catamount Jackson Godfrey. How about that? There you go. Again, UNC Asheville tomorrow night coaching in a game that will be on regional television, CW, WYCW, Pete Ganity, Rusty Strapp will have the call. I think you might have talked with Rusty this week, a former Gardner Webb coach, and he knows a thing or two about both teams coming in, having played against UNC Asheville when he was at GW, and of course playing against our Catamounts as well. But what do you see out of Asheville, a team that, again, they love to come over to Cullowhee and get a win over our Catamounts. They want to try to get their season going. Midweek games can really jumpstart you in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember when we played over there, they didn't help us at all. I mean, they walked us a couple times, but defensively on the infield, I remember a bunch of good plays that they made, and they're going to be ready to play, and when we need to defend our home field and get off to a good start. I'm excited. I mean, we're going to run Bryant Kimbrell out there for his first outing since Sanford, and he's going to start the game. So excited to see him compete. Obviously, we do everything we can to win the game, but at the same time trying to stay good on the weekends, just like they are.
And, of course, all the Piedmont Triad Catamounts, we need to break up some of the black and gold with some purple and gold this weekend as we head down to the couch, talking about the former Winston-Salem Spirits. They're at Old Ernie Shore Field. That's always to be to me down in Winston-Salem. Right there to take on Wake Forest, one of the top teams in the ACC. They had a big series win over the Louisville Cardinals over the weekend. Yeah. So, again, they're a very good ball club. Again, perennial power in the ACC now, and a great opportunity as we look at it with our guys. I think we can swing it with everybody. I think we can pitch it with everybody. It's just a matter of going and playing those games and seeing where the chips might fall. But, again, wish you the best of luck again. Tomorrow night, again, 5 o'clock right here at Childress Field, Hennon Stadium. Hope you make your way out to see the Catamounts play at home. And, Coach, wish you the best of luck there. Then we've got Wake Forest. We'll try to get back with you again before we look at the conference tournament, because we'll wrap up with a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series after a trip to Clinton to take on PC.
Yep.
Try to pay those guys back a little bit.
They played great up here.
But then we get a really good game. Then we get UNCG at home to wrap up the regular season. Then we head to Greenville, South Carolina. So, again, some last check-in opportunities. Again, go online, get your tickets to the SoCon Baseball Championship in the 20th to the 23rd down at Mini Fenway. Floor Field at the West End. It's a beautiful ballpark. It's a great tournament. It's good just to go sit and watch baseball. To me, it's always my end-of-the-year escape, but I'm looking forward to having a little more ball to play after we finish up in Greenville, South Carolina, as we try to get things going in the right direction. Again, visit SoConSports.com. You can also go online to the Catamount baseball schedule at CatamountSports.com to get those tickets to the SoCon Baseball Championship, again presented by Holston Gases. Tomorrow night, though, 5 o'clock, Western Carolina, UNC Asheville, Mountain Rivalry. Pete Kennedy will be in the house. Rusty Strap will be in the house. Looking forward to it, Coach. Again, good luck tomorrow night against Asheville.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That's Western Carolina head baseball coach Alan Beck. We could talk for about 2 more hours with all of our coaches. We're going to wrap up our show in just a moment, though, as we talk gridiron. We're going to wrap up spring, get you ready for the summer, and, of course, looking ahead to the fall, we'll go to football. And head coach Kerwin Bell on the other side of this quick timeout. Back with more from Catamount Jaxe right here on our Catamount Coaches Show, presented by Stanberry Insurance.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have energy smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
And we're back live at Catamount Jaxe here, just across from the Western Carolina campus here in the heart of Catamount Country. Normally, we'll be talking about Catamount Football Weekly. We'll kind of go that route again on our Catamount Coaches Show. We talk with the head ball coach, talking with Kerwin Bell as we look back at the spring. Again, right here at Catamount Jaxe. Make sure you stop by and see the fine folks here at Catamount Jaxe. Next time you come to Color Week, axe throwing in the back, social house in the front. It's a fun time had by all. If you've never thrown axes, I think it's a good opportunity. Have you been back there to throw the axes?
Yeah, I've done it a couple times.
Yeah.
Not any good. But.
No, I mean, you would think, the guy that was, All-American with the arm and everything,
A little different
motion?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you that. Again, all of our shows presented by Stanberry Insurance, online at stanberry-ins.com. Give them an opportunity to give you a quote there. Visit them online at stanberry-ins.com. Stanberry Insurance, back into Catamounts for over 40 years. And, Coach, you guys put a wrap on your spring. You had a good spring game. Got that in right before Catamount baseball. It was part of a good weekend as we swept Mercer that weekend. Had a good on the field. Had Drew Barefoot and all the folks out for the cookout. I mean, just overall pretty good. And you told me at the time, you said probably 14 out of 15 practice sessions were good. Talk about your spring practice before we look at how things have progressed since. Happy with the way things came out of spring?
Well, we were. It's very crucial nowadays with all the new players that you bring onto the roster in January to get as much, reps, get them as used to the systems as you can. I thought we did that. I thought we put them in some really tough situations throughout spring and seeing sort of how they react, because it's a lot of new players. Got the young guys who've been redshirted, guys we brought in last year or two that maybe didn't have a very big role until now. Now it's the time for them to step up. We were pleasantly surprised by a lot of guys. Sometimes you look at a guy, he's redshirted, he's sort of, first time he's never played football. So they sort of handle it a little different. Sometimes, did we miss on this guy? You don't look like he has the passion or desire to play the game. But now the roles have changed, and he's got a chance to go compete for a job. And they see that. And we was pleasantly surprised by a lot of young kids that we recruited that are going to help us this year. So that's good to see, along with the transfers. We felt like we were able to put all that together this spring and come out in pretty good shape.
talking about one of the biggest battles everybody wants to talk about first and foremost would be a position that's near and dear to your heart, talking about the QB room. Again, great competition there. You got a transfer that came in. You got a returning guy that saw some time a year ago that got a lot of playing time, probably more so because of some issues off the field, obviously beginning of the year. But you talk about your quarterback battle. You had to be happy with the way that kind of shook down.
Well, I am. We got 5 on the roster right now, bringing in 2 really talented freshman guys that we felt like that are going to be really good players for us. So that quarterback room is probably as deep as we've had since I've been here. We got to find that guy who can go to that next level, sort of how Teron did this past season, take his game to the next level. But right now, the 2 front runners are Isaac Lee, who was a walk-on here.
Yep.
But I tell you what, he's everything we're looking for in a quarterback. Lex Thomas, the guy we brought in off the portal, beat out some good teams for him. He wanted to come play in this system, and he's from North Carolina State. Both of those guys give you what I want as a quarterback. Their first number one quality is that they're Hall of Fame point guards. They can distribute the ball at a very high efficiency, high completion rate. They get a lot of completions when they're playing. They don't force a lot of things. They're very, very good in that area, getting through hit their progressions. But then the other thing, a lot of times you have one that can do that, the other one ain't as good, but he can run. Well, here I think we've got 2 characteristics. They both are very efficient, but they both have these unbelievable legs that they can run and the speed that they have to create plays, to extend plays, to create some explosive plays. So it's going to be a tough battle right down to the end. I told them both, this thing's going to go, I think, right into camp, and we're going to have to make a tough decision. What I hope is that one of these guys, like I say, takes that next jump to the next level. And we know if one of them, whoever beats the other one out, they're going to be a great quarterback for us because both of them are playing at a high level right now.
Yeah, I think they both really work together, too. Watch them off the field. One come off the sideline talking to the other. I'm pretty sure Isaac spent, at the end of the spring game, he was on the opposite team's sideline at the end of that game, talking with the other quarterbacks, talking with the other players, the leadership role that he's really taken on as an underclassman. And then you talk about Lex coming in as a brand new player, leadership role he has taken on. We started calling him Jackson Dart. He had some of the same characteristics. I think he had the same haircut. He wore the one arm sleeve, the one leg. We were calling him a Jackson Dart type player during the spring game, watching some of his mannerisms. But looking at the trenches, that's another area where I know we wanted to get better, both offensive line, defensive line. Some of the young guys on that offensive line really started to step up and take roles, and you got brought in some new guys on that defensive front as well.
Yeah, our big deal this spring was to really try to work on our run game, be able to knock people off the ball a little bit better. We're going with bigger backs. We got Josh Perry, who had a fabulous spring, which was good to see. We thought we had something last year. We redshirted him, and we thought we had something pretty special. He's about 208, 210-pound back who can carry the load. He's one of those guys, when you give him the ball, he may get 4 yards, but he'll get 2 more at the end. He always finishes his runs. He's very physical. He's a big back. So now if we can create that kind of balance on offense, it's just going to make us even better, especially against really good football teams. The more balanced you are, the better you can compete against those teams. And so feel very good about what we did up front with our offensive line, the way they've come around. In that spring game, Hook, we had 5 guys available on one side, 5 on the other. 6 were hurt. 6 guys, and we're still trying to bring in 1 or 2 more. Really that tackle position, just as backups and guys who can come in and play for us. So we still got some work to do, but, man, I love the offensive line, the way it's playing. I love the backs that we've got here on our roster right now. And then defensive line was also a big key. We lost a lot of players through graduation last year. And we felt like we wanted to go out and find guys who were productive. Wherever they had played before, we wanted to make sure they were productive. And we got guys maybe not quite as tall or big as we had in the past, but they're very, very productive. They play hard. And we feel like that's the direction we want to go. And I think we've done a good job of that.
Well, it's hard to find guys bigger than J-Mike.
Yeah.
J-Mike was pretty doggone
big. We had a couple of
big
ones in there last year.
Well, I saw him. He was working security at the SoCon basketball tournament. And I said, they can just put you there. Nobody's going to mess with you. I mean, size-wise, and what a great guy he is, and finishing up grad school for Jermichael. But you talk about defense. You mentioned defensive line. Let's talk about your defense. Nick Rebace coming in first year, coming in as a new defensive coordinator. How do you think they took to things with his new system coming in? Again, did it help maybe having a lot of new guys with a new system? It wasn't everybody learning one system to another. Did that help maybe with having a bunch of new guys, everybody learning as one?
Well, I think it was probably the perfect timing, because sometimes if you bring in a guy that's new and you've got all these veterans back that's played a lot of snaps, now you got to convince them that this is the best system for them.
Right.
We got a lot of young, hungry guys who haven't played a lot of snaps on defense. We lost a lot of those guys through graduation. But what we have a lot of hungry guys who want to compete, a lot of competition. And then we got this new defense coordinator that's brought in a very exciting defense, great communicator, does a great job. Him and the staff that he's brought with him are all just great communicators. They really develop relationships with these young men. They're all wanting to play. They want to play in this defense. They're excited about it. So I think we've hit a home run with that. We'll see. And I just like the way we're getting better and better on that side of the ball. We was really competitive in the spring against our offense. The defense was, and hopefully we'll just continue to grow in that area.
Well, iron sharpens iron, and going up against a Kerwin Bell offense has got to make your defense better. Otherwise, it's going to be long practice sessions if you're not getting better there against that offense. So, again, now you kind of turn the page, you finish up. We mentioned, at the end of spring ball, you said, let's finish out the semester strong. You got back in the weight room a little more with Coach Bates. You're getting a brand new field that's finally going to be done. I think they might have signed off on it this week, looking to get that ready to go, getting the lights back. So now you can get back under the lights, Coach. No more of those early morning practices. You can get some nighttime practices going, lights going back in. All the facility upgrades continue. Have you been up to see your new office again? Have you know where you're going to
be? Been up there a couple of times. Yeah. It's a beautiful, that second level's we've got a lot of offices there, a lot of space for our football program. It's going to be great for our players to be able to be a part of that, and our fans, on game day, to be able to enjoy that top level, really, for a lot of our boosters and alumni. So it's I think it's really great. I think, I say this all the time, man. It's hard. $40 million of improvements from the last game last season to the first game of this season. So it's going to be a big difference. The video board, the field, the lighting, all those things is going to be great for our program and continue to build and go forward.
Well, you look at that, of course, a couple of night games coming up next year. Looking forward to those being under the lights, something about colorway at night that makes everything better in terms of watching games. But where do you go now? What's the step? Now the semester's winding down, exam week here, finishing up strong. You're looking at bringing a few more guys in during this transition as you get to summer, and then what's next?
Yeah, really what we did after spring ball, we had about 2.5 weeks here that Coach Bates really got them back in the weight room. Then we had a big championship day where we did a lot of different things with all the teams that had a very competitive day. And then from there, they're all about now academics, full 100%. We don't bother them until, they'll complete their finals. Then they'll go home for about 3 weeks here in May, and we'll get them back June 1st. And we'll start OTAs June and July. That leads us right into camp in August, and be ready to go play Eastern Kentucky that opening night. I think it's on August 29th. So we got a lot of things we got to get done between now and then. There's a couple of spots, like I said, the offensive line. We're still looking for 1 or 2 players that can help us. Maybe an experienced corner that can come in and help the group that we got, even though we love the guys we have there. So we're just adding a few pieces here that we think can make a difference for us as we make a run throughout the SoCon.
And, of course, now everybody needs to get their season tickets in advance. Go ahead and get those tickets now. Again, single game tickets won't go on sale for a couple more weeks, but make sure you get your season tickets so you get all 6 home games here in Cullowhee. Looking forward to being a part of that. You said from the very beginning it takes a village to get this thing done, and it all starts with the home field environment. We get to welcome Eastern Kentucky. We welcome Tennessee Tech to the league. They get to come to our place for the first time, a team that's been a perennial power in their conference the last couple of years. Again, it all starts with the game day atmosphere. We've said it many times on these programs, second to none. There's none better in the conference than what we have here in Cullowhee on game days.
Yeah, I mean, it's turned into, now with the sideline that we built, it's turned into this beautiful stadium. I mean, and when you have the fans, the way we get into it, our fans support this football team. Our student body is great. makes a big difference. The band is one of the best in the country, almost 500 students. So it's a great game day experience, and we got to take advantage of that. We lost some tough ones at home last year. We got to try to, to win this thing, you got to be really good at home, and we should be with the support that we have. We got some good football teams coming in here. But the one thing I think, what I've tried to do as we built this thing is just develop this team into a point where it can be a well-rounded football team. Last year we had some pretty deficient things in certain areas. We had some deficiencies in certain areas. Tiger, with his season, sort of made up for a lot of those. Yeah. We won some games because he was just so dominant. But as a head coach, man, I want to be a dominant football team in all areas. And so I feel like I said earlier, the offensive line with that running game that we seen in the spring, especially how big our backs we got. We got a kid out of Pittsburgh. Cates, I sent him some guys, so he sent me one back.
It's about time.
It's about time I got one. Yeah. But this kid, Derek Davis, he's 6'1", 220 pounds. You add, like Perry's a 210-pound kid. We got some other kids at 200. So we're so much bigger there. I think that's going to help us be a really good, consistent run football team, more balanced offensive football team, and then defensively. When you out there watching them every day, they're getting better and better. They love their coaches. They want to play hard for those guys, and I believe we're going to still have a great balance. Coach Webb's back here now the last year and a half helping us, and he's one of the best special teams coaches, I believe, in America in college football. And so we've got a chance to have a much well-rounded football team than we've ever had, Hook. And that's what you got to have to win championships. To win against the big teams, you got to be a very well-rounded football team. And I think we're heading in that direction as we go into this season.
By God, those running backs better be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, or they're not going to play for a Kerwin Bell offense. I learned that in year one, that if you don't catch the ball out of the backfield as a running back, you may not see the field again, right?
Yeah, you got.
Or are you changing the philosophy now? How is it? Kerwin Bell's turning into a running game. We're going to see the I formation, maybe the Maryland I.
No, it won't be that. But I just think there were certain areas we looked. You can't just keep doing the same stuff over and over if it's not been successful. Run game, we hadn't done what we need to do. And I think it's a little bit is to get bigger. I think offensive line, we really address that, being more physical, being bigger and stronger. And we really worked. Coach Bates has done a tremendous job with that. So, defensively, safeties. We were playing with 5'9" safeties the last few years. We got by with it, but now we got 6'1", 6'2", 6-foot safeties that are 200 pounds. So we're trying to address areas where make us a better all-around football team, and I'm pleased with the way you can't get everything you want. We would love to have, be able to go get whatever we needed, but I think we have made some big improvements in certain areas that were sort of deficiencies. Were some deficiencies for us last year against really good football teams. That shows, and I think we got a better chance to go play against those guys now as we head into the season.
Yeah, it all starts with fundraising. It all starts with, we talk about it all the time. People may get tired of hearing it, but the truth of the matter is that's where it all starts, with fundraising, season tickets, getting those things in the door. That's where it all starts.
And Hook, this is the people, I'm just telling you, we talk about NIL, we talk about these facilities, which is going to be great for our football program, but the NIL is a big key, man. I think there's the rumor. There's 3 or 4 teams that's going to be over $1 million in our conference, or right at $1 million in NIL money this year. We're not nowhere near that, but I'm hoping that we've made some good choices, and we've got some guys who will come in here and play. I really feel like we're good in that area, but man, this is going to play and to go produce, you gotta spend a lot of money now, and that's what college football has gone down to, But we'll keep working. We'll keep getting players in here and keep coaching them up. I think that's the one thing about our staff over the years. People can say we've got pretty much the most out of the players that we have.
Sure.
We got to continue to do that. We got to continue to pick the right quarterback, because that's what makes the difference a lot of times. And we got to go and play as a football team. This is the ultimate team sport. So you can have 2 or 3 great individual players that are better than ours, but by God, as a team, if we play together and do the things you have to do to be a championship team, then that makes up for it.
Yeah, we talk a lot about NIL, but again, I think it does go a long way. The atmosphere, the facilities, being here, part of a winning tradition now. You look at 3 or 4 years in a row, right there on the cusp of knocking down that door to get back to the FCS playoffs. All of those things, I think, help recruit great players and also help retain great players. So that's what we need to do as a Catamount Nation to help our Catamount football program. Coach, again, we could talk all night about everything that's going on with our program. Looking forward to being back with you as we get ready to gear up for the fall, our fall sports preview. It'll be here before you know it. I can't believe it's already May. We're talking softball championship this week. We're talking track and field championship coming up first of next week. It won't be long until we're down in Greenville, South Carolina for the baseball championship. Then it's Memorial Day. Then the football team is back. And then it's opening day in August 29th. So it all happens so quick. Get your tickets in advance online at CatamountSports.com. And, Coach, appreciate your time here tonight, being able to take some time to come talk with us here about how we went from the end of spring to where we are right now. Always appreciate talking with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Our guys are out on the road recruiting, so if you're at a high school, you might see them somewhere, but we're continuing to try to get the best players in here. And, man, our teams have done great. Andy Baseball's right there at the top.
Baseball,
Especially winning a championship, softball. You know, our track and field teams are great. So we just got to continue to in this. And I think you know, people says, well, what, you know, all these buildings, what does that do? It makes a big difference when student athletes come on our campus and they see us building new facilities and doing all these different things. It tells them right away. I mean, that, man, they're serious about football. They're serious about baseball, softball, all their different sports. They're committed to that, and I think that's starting to show in the standings. And as we are able to produce in different sports, and hopefully, again, our football team will go up against some really good football teams, but hopefully we'll go out there and play our best. And home field advantage is going to be a big key. We got to go win these home games and go play our best football when we need to.
It won't be long until we'll be sitting right back here at Catamount Jaxe talking about Catamount Football Weekly. But for now, Daniel Hooker along with Coach Kerwin Bell. Also say thanks to, again, Jesse Norman, Alan Beck, and Jim Clift, all of our staff here, and all the fine folks here at Catamount Jaxe, proud supporter of Catamount Athletics and the home of Catamount Football Weekly and our Catamount Coaches Show. I'm Daniel Hooker from the Catamount Sports Network saying so long for now. Thanks for watching, and can't wait to see you right back here in Catamount Country.